Welcome to Chamber Exchange, a TV show. My name is Tim Murray, President and CEO of the Worcester Regional Chamber of Commerce. And Chamber Exchange, a TV show, is an opportunity for us to bring on chamber members and others in the community focused on issues of economic development, job creation, and public policy in central Massachusetts. And very happy to have with us on our first segment, Dean Stamoulis, who is the owner of Garden Fresh, a family-owned business located within St. Vincent Hospital. Dean, welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Pleasure to see you.
Yeah. So, before we started the tape, if you will,
Yes.
we were chatting a little bit. But Garden Fresh, a family-owned business, you're the owner, 25 years.
25 years at St. Vincent. So, St. Vincent's moved from Providence Street, the old location, to downtown Worcester. And Alex Drapos, who was was chairman of the board of the hospital at the time, and kind of created an opportunity and said, "Is that something you're interested in doing?" And having grown up in the food business, pizzeria, I thought it would be a unique opportunity to get to work with my parents again. So we're all back together, my brother, my mom, my dad.
And Alex Drapos, you mentioned, a local attorney, unfortunately passed away, but very active in the community.
Correct. I think he was the president of the chamber for a number of years,
Yes, he
right?
was. Alex was very involved in the community in a variety of ways, including the chamber. But you mentioned St. Vincent Hospital. There's probably a whole generation of people new to Worcester that always think of St. Vincent Hospital in its current location. Later on in the show today, we're going to have Kevin Breen from Worcester Academy to talk about the new building that Worcester Academy built on the old St. Vincent Hospital. I don't know, that's where I was born. I don't know. So St. Vincent Hospital downtown was a big deal. I think there were 27 properties that many of them were vacant, contaminated. The city at the time worked to through the Worcester Redevelopment Authority, acquired those sites, cleaned it up, and built the new hospital because at the time St. Vincent was contemplating leaving the city.
I remember hearing that. Yeah.
So St. Vincent Hospital downtown, keeping the hospital services within the city, keeping the jobs, paying taxes, and also the design is kind of unique, and you're kind of featured in it.
Yeah, so it was modeled after a place in, I think, Dallas, Texas, Medical City.
Yes, yeah.
That was also owned by Tenet.
Right.
So they figured that it was successful there, and they wanted to really, make it successful in Worcester, kind of focus on the downtown revitalization. I thought it was a great opportunity. When I first walked in there, I couldn't believe my eyes. That 6-story atrium, I thought I was walking into a mall or an airport or something.
Right.
It just blew me away, and I'm so excited to be part of it.
And it's become a big gathering place. I mean,
Absolutely.
People are down there for appointments, visiting family members, et cetera. So, but that atrium has become a place where not only St. Vincent Hospital, but the community can hold events. People come down and kind of do their exercise and walking. And so you've got Garden Fresh. So why don't you talk about your food operations in there?
Yeah. So initially we started as Garden Fresh, and it was just Garden Fresh, basically the deli, breakfast spot, lunch, dinner, is basically to serve the patients and visitors to the hospital. But as you mentioned, the location, the proximity to downtown, a lot of the downtown towers, like the Worcester Office Tower, the old Guarantee Building, they wanted a place to eat, and it was just, they created that beautiful atrium. You had the waterfall, you had the trees, you had all this stuff going on, and people love to come down there. We provide things at a reasonable price because we're providing food to the same people every day. So it's not like we're looking to sell them a $100 meal,
right?
A fancy steak or a bottle of wine. We're basically built on volume and a lot of repetition in business. So we see the same people every day. As I mentioned, we opened the deli in 2000. And then the pizzeria was owned by a company called Harry Ilardo of Mama Ilardo's. He was a football player for the Jets, wanted to expand the pizza operations in Massachusetts, but realized he didn't it was just out of his geography.
Right,
so,
right. It's tough to run
managing something from New York. So he walked by one day and he said, look, are you interested in buying a pizzeria? I said, it's funny. I said, my dad's been in the pizza business since the early 70s. So we jumped on that opportunity. My brother moved back from Wellesley. He was running a successful pizzeria in Wellesley, Massachusetts. And then, my dad laughed. He's like, I can't believe this. I retired to get away from the pizza business. So We're all together every day now.
Well, you mentioned it was an opportunity for you to kind of get back working with your parents, but before you opened in 2000, 25 years ago,
Yes.
You were involved probably as a youngster helping out the family business. Nico's on Grafton Hill. Maybe
Correct.
you could talk about your dad's
Sure,
and your family business.
Yeah, my mom and dad immigrated here from Greece. Found a home in Worcester. Absolutely loved it. His first job was actually at Table Talk Pie, my dad's.
Right, right.
The Koutsidas family, a real prominent family in Greece, had owned it. And believe it or not, he is from the same village as my dad is in Greece. So when he immigrated here, he was kind enough to offer him a job, became a supervisor, and then another gentleman from his village named Peter Garousis said, since you're doing so well with the baking, why don't you bake pizzas for yourself? And kind of helped him along. So I really had a good time, learned a lot. You know, one, learned a language, but second, learned how to run a business. Peter was a very successful operator in Clinton, a place called P&S Pizza.
Yeah, yeah. And so Nico's is still present on Grafton.
It's still there,
so
yeah.
Your dad started that in the 70s.
Correct. Started in the early 70s, and the family that runs it now is the Bakoyannis family. Dimitri Bakoyannis, his wife, his two daughters, and his son. They've run it, I think, as long as my dad, believe it or not, almost 30 years.
So it's kind of like that movie scene, just when you think you get out, they pull you back in.
Correct.
You got your father working with you, kind of
It's
probably
great.
critiquing you and your brother and how you...
Of course, I think we do 10 things wrong a day, and maybe something right every once in a while. I guess it's a generational thing.
Yeah, probably, there was moments, but generally speaking, probably a pretty positive and rewarding experience.
Yeah, my brother and I, we laugh about it often. We've worked with our mom and dad almost every day. Todd, yeah, who's really the backbone of the whole operation.
Yeah. You're the front man, the PR guy.
I guess. I'm usually the delivery guy, to be honest with you. I deliver the food here and there.
Right.
But Todd really organizes all the things. My mom, believe it or not, at 80 years old, still does some of the bookkeeping there. Kind of. She had gone to the Salter School, so she said she really put her accounting skills to work.
Right, right. And so generally, and then you mentioned how people from some of the office buildings and towers downtown, sometimes just want to get an office,
Exactly
get a bit of fresh air, and then come over and grab a bite to eat. But you're also doing catering out of the location
We
as well.
do a lot of catering. And I think that was one of the things that surprised us first. When we first opened, we figured there are 2,000 employees in the hospital, not all at the same time,
Right.
but 2,000 employees. We've got about 300 beds there, so I figured, God, it's going to be enough to handle. And then, I'm happy to bring up his name again, but Alex, who worked at Fletcher Tilton, they were on 370 Main Street at the time.
Yeah, law firm, chamber
correct.
member organization.
Right, yeah. So he would bring some of his fellow attorneys and fellow employees down, and the downtown people thought, gee, this is great. You get away, and it was like a meeting place. And then the addition of the courthouse,
Right.
Another traffic opportunity for us, because the prior location was the far end of Main Street, and moving it closer to the middle of Main Street benefited us also. So it's really a unique place. I mean, you'll see everybody from, city employees to attorneys to judges to people working in the courthouse.
Right, right. And you mentioned Table Talk, great Worcester institution, chamber member business as well, but continues to be a place for a lot of immigrants that come over, new Americans, to kind of get a toehold economically and then stay at the company or move on, which is a great story of your dad. Just, we got a minute or two left. Some challenges right now in the food industry, probably staffing, food costs. How are you juggling that?
You hit the nail right on the head. So food inflation has been absolutely amazing. I mean, we all go to the grocery store, so we know, but they say inflation is kind of in control, but grocery inflation is crazy. Produce, proteins, it's just amazing. And it's so volatile because, if there's a frost or this or that, it just exacerbates an already inflated environment for prices. And it's, we can't change our prices, not like we're the gold Comex, I mean, you come in for your Italian grinder, you want to pay your, $7 or $8,
right?
And that's what you want to pay. You can't just say, well, today tomatoes were expensive and we're going to charge you $8.50. People would think you're crazy.
Right.
So that is, and then for employees, I got to tell you, we're extremely lucky. We've had the same people, people like Kevin, people like Amalia. They've been with us forever. I mean, since the very beginning.
No. Well, that's good stuff. So if someone wants to learn a little bit more, come down to visit, or
Come down and
or,
visit.
or get an order. How do they get in touch, Dean?
So they can reach us. My cell phone's always available.
Yeah.
I always answer my own phone. I try to answer it right away, figure out what people need. Because oftentimes people are in the hospital. They're like,
Right.
oh, God, I'm stuck in the hospital. My mom's in the emergency room. I need to grab something to eat. I say, walk down the hall. Security will let you through. Or
Yeah.
if it's a big group, maybe we'll run it down to the ER, depending on who it is.
Got it.
But come by the atrium, definitely. Would love to see you.
Good.
There's a Dunkin' Donuts there in addition to the pizzeria. There's a retailer there, the Hallmark store.
Yeah.
There's a lot to see.
Got it. Dean Stamoulis, owner of Garden Fresh within St. Vincent Hospital, celebrating 25 years. Good stuff.
Thank you.
All right. Come back. We're going to have our next segment.
These days, you've got your hands full in life. That's why we help you bank simply and securely with tools like Face ID and Touch ID. It's why we make it easy to make purchases on the go and get cash back while you're at it. Why we help you quickly deposit checks wherever you are. And it's why we lend a hand with sending and receiving money right from your phone. So even when you're on the move, you can manage your finances. Bank Hometown. Unlock your potential.